من المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أتخذ من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغني عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم قامدون يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها هبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وأعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما أملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآية لهم الليل نسلك منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالأرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أنطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يقسمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا مهدرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لتمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نؤمره نكسه في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وذللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند مهضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم ير الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحيي الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون صدق الله العلي العظيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين عليا ولي الله عليه الصلاة والسلام أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين عليا حجة الله عليه الصلاة والسلام هيا على الصلاة هيا على الصلاة هيا على الفلاح هيا على الفلاح هيا على خير العمل هيا على خير العمل الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله وسلم.
Mu'minin, please check your cell phone, make sure it's on silent.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله هيا على الصلاة هيا على الصلاة هيا على الفلاح هيا على الفلاح هيا على خير العمل هيا على خير العمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله استغفر الله وأسأله التوبة يا قدير يا الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من 1000 شهر تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار بحق محمد وآل الطاهرين. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده سبحان الله وسبحان الله وسبحان الله. يا ولي العافية نسألك العافية عافية الدين والدنيا والآخرة بحق محمد وآل الطيبين الطاهرين. الله أكبر. بسم الله وبالله والحمد لله وخير الأسماء لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك موجبات رحمتك وعزائم مغفرتك والنجاة من النار ومن كل بلية والفوز بالجنة والرضوان في دار السلام وجوار نبيك محمد عليه وآله السلام. اللهم ما بنا بنعمة فمنك لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. اللهم صل.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن عليا ولي الله. أشهد أن عليا حجة الله. هيا على الصلاة. هيا على الصلاة. هيا على الفلاح. هيا على الفلاح. هيا على خير العمل. هيا على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة. قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. استغفر الله وأسأله التوبة. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانهر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلبي على دينك. إلهي آمنا بفضلك ولا تعاملنا بعدلك يا كريم بحق محمد وآله الطاهرين. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. حول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده سبحان وسبحان وسبحان الله. يا لطيف إرم عبدك الضعيف بحق محمد وآله الطاهرين. الله أكبر. بسم الله وبالله والحمد لله وخير الأسماء لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. اللهم إنه ليس لي علم بموضع رزقي وإنما أطلبه بخطرة تخطره على قلبي فأجول في طلبه البلدان فأنا فيما أنا طالب كالحيران لا أدري في سهل هو أم في جبل أم في أرض أم في سماء أم في بر أم في بحر وعلى يدي من ومن قبلي من وقد علمت أن علمه عندك وأسبابه بيدك وأنت الذي تقسمه بلطفك وتسببه برحمتك. اللهم فصل على محمد وآله واجعل يا ربي رزق غالي واسعا ومطلبه سهلا ومخذه قريبا ولا تعنني بطلب ما لم تقدر لي فيه رزقا فإنك غني عن عذابي وأنا فقير إلى رحمتك. فصل على محمد وآله وجد على عبدك بفضلك إنك ذو فضل عظيم.
صل على محمد وآل محمد أجل فرجه.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك يا رسول الله يا نبي الله. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين يا علي بن أبي طالب. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيد نساء العالمين. سلام عليك يا حسن بن علي المجتبى سلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله يا حسين بن علي الشهيد بقربلاء ورحمة الله وبركاته سلام عليكم يا أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين زين العابدين ومحمد بن علي الباقر وجعفر بن محمد الصادق وموسى بن جعفر القاسم وعلي بن موسى الرضا ومحمد بن علي الجواد وعلي بن محمد الهادي وحسن بن علي العسكري ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك يا حجة بن الحسن يا صاحب العصر والزمان السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن السلام عليك يا قابة الإيمان السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان ورحمة الله وبركاته
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اے فقیر حسین اے حبیب حسین اے فقیر حسین اے حبیب حسین حبیب ابن مظاہر حبیب ابن مظاہر اے فقیر حسین اے حبیب حسین یہ ختم شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ یہ ختم شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ تمہارا دوست ہے تنہا حبیب آ جاؤ یہ ختم شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ یہ ختم شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ شہید کیسے ہوا وہ بتاؤ گے آ کر تم حال مسلم بے کس سناؤ گے آ کر رقیہ تکتی ہے رستہ حبیب آ جاؤ یہ ختم شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ یہ ختم شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ لگاؤ ایسے بھی اندازے میری غربت کے جہاں پہ ابن علی لکھنا تھا وہاں میں نے دیا ہے ماں کا حوالہ حبیب آ جاؤ یہ ختم شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ یہ ختم شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ بتا رہا تھا اسے کوئی بھی نہیں ہے میرا تو بولی ثانی زہرا حبیب آئے گا ہے اس کو تم پہ بھروسہ حبیب آ جاؤ یہ ختم شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ یہ ختم شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ وہ جب یہ سنتی ہے کوفے سے آ رہے ہے شکی تو پوچھتی ہے ہمارا بھی آئے گا کوئی دعائیں دے گی سکینہ دعائیں دے گی سکینہ حبیب آ جاؤ یہ ختم شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ یہ ختم شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ گوارا کر نہیں سکتی حسین کی غیرت تمہاری زوجہ کی چادر کو لوٹ لے امت تم اس کو چھوڑ کے کوفہ حبیب آ جاؤ یہ ختم شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ یہ ختم شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ مجھے ہے یاد وہ لمحہ جو رب کی مرضی سے تم ہو کہ زندہ میری بات سننے آئے تھے، بلا رہا ہوں دوبارہ حبیب آ جاؤ، یہ خط میں شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ، یہ خط میں شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ، در بطول دوبارہ جلایا جائے گا، تمہارے دوست پہ خنجر چلایا جائے گا، نہیں ہے وقت زیادہ حبیب آ جاؤ، یہ خط میں شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ، یہ خط میں شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ، چمکتے چاند کی ہم کو بھی دید ہو جائے، تم آؤ تو میرے بچوں میں عید ہو جائے، بہت اداس ہے کنبہ حبیب آ جاؤ، یہ خط میں شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ، یہ خط میں شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ، یہ خط نہیں ایسے بہنوں کی آرزو سمجھو، ہمارے لفظوں کو زینب کی گفتگو سمجھو، بہن یہ کہتی ہے بھیا حبیب آ جاؤ، یہ خط میں شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ، یہ خط میں شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ، بہن نے اس کو تکلم جو بھائی سمجھا تھا، پکاری شام غریباں میں ثانی زہرا، ہمارا لوٹا ہے پردہ حبیب آ جاؤ، یہ خط میں شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ، یہ خط میں شاہ نے لکھا حبیب آ جاؤ، صلو علی محمد وآل محمد۔
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Baba, you said Abbas would come, for I am thirsty. His arms fallen empty, no one to help me. Akbar, Qasim, Asghar, alone and bloody. Baba, I beg, don't go, have mercy on me. Baba, please don't mount Zulchana, hear the cry of Zahra. I see the face of one who's ready for Allah. Just wait a little longer, I can't be any stronger. Didn't you see what they did to my brother Akbar? Aunt Zainab screaming, poor Asghar bleeding. Baba, your face, they will start beating. Baba, don't give your chest away. I sleep on it every day. Why does Shabbir sit where I used to play? Baba, don't give your chest away. I sleep on it every day. Why does Shabbir sit where I used to play? I thought it was just for me. Who said it was free? He lifts his dagger. 1, 2, 3. Baba, he kicked your blessed head, began to sit on my bed, then struck and struck as Zainab was in dread. I learned to count to 12. They cut your head themselves. If only you saw me paraded to a cell. Baba, if only you could see, with much hate they treated me. My tears, they fell a slap to such degree. I screamed in agony. He wanted jewelry. My ears were ripped, if only you could see. Baba, let me speak to you. The bazaar we walked through, the story is long, if only you knew. They took my chadar and threw. He put my face in view. My cheeks are bruised with eyes black and blue. Baba, my feet are injured too. Let me please sleep on you. Read me a story, but not about us two. I only see Zuljana, the screams Wa Husayna. I want to sleep, where are you, oh Baba? I only see Zuljana, the screams Wa Husayna. I want to sleep, where are you, oh Baba? I want to sleep, where are you, oh Baba? I want to sleep, where are you, oh Baba? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli.
Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. चले आओ करबो बला अकेला हुआ है हुसैन हबीब तुम पर सलामे हुसैन मेरे हबीब ऐ मेरे दोस्त ऐ मेरे आँखों के चैन हबीब तुम पर सलामे हुसैन रजब में मदीने से निकला था मैं मोहब्बत थी जिसे वो घर छोड़ कर میں سہتا رہا سختیاں حبیب، رسول خدا کا شہر چھوڑ کر چلے آؤ کرب و بلا، اکیلا ہوا ہے حسین، حبیب تم پر سلام حسین۔ اور بہت مختصر سا ہے لشکر میرا، مقابل تو میرے ہے لاکھوں عدو، وفادار بھی ہو بہادر بھی ہو، نظر ڈھونڈتی ہے تمہیں چار سو، چلے آؤ کرب و بلا، اکیلا ہوا ہے حسین، حبیب تم پر سلام حسین۔ میرے خون کے پیاسے ہیں یہ اہل شر، میرے قتل کی ہے یہ تیاریاں، لعینوں کی تیغیں بھی ہیں منتظر، تمہاری ضرورت ہے مجھ کو یہاں، چلے آؤ کرب و بلا، اکیلا ہوا ہے حسین، حبیب تم پر سلام حسین۔ ابھی میرا مقتل سجا بھی نہیں، مگر مجھے پہ روتی ہے کرب و بلا، میری بے کسی کا ہے جو مرثیہ، اگر سننا چاہو تو اے ہم نوا، چلے آؤ کرب و بلا، اکیلا ہوا ہے حسین، حبیب تم پر سلام حسین۔ یہ تحریر پڑھتے ہیں نکلے حبیب، تو رہوار روکا سر کربلا، کیا کہ شہ نے سلام وفا، حبیب حضی سے یہ شہ نے کہا، اچھا کیا اے حبیب تم یہاں گئے، میرے हबीब ए मेरे दोस्त ए मेरे आँखों के चैन हबीब तुम पर सलामे हुसैन ये देखो मसाइब ये देखो सितम कहाँ मेरे ख़ैमे कहाँ अलक़मा जो दिल पर है गुज़री सुनाऊंगा मैं जो तुम आ गए तो दिलासा मिला अच्छा किया ए हबीब तुम यहाँ गए मेरे हबीब ऐ मेरे दोस्त ऐ मेरे आँखों के चैन हबीब तुम पर सलामे हुसैन मुहम्मदिन व आले मुहम्मद सलावत
Dr. Syed, Shabbir, Kirmani, Dr. Dungersi, Nawhakhan, Abbas, MK, respected elders, brothers and sisters in Iman, Adam Allah ajurna wa ajurakum. Tomorrow, Thursday, our program will begin at 7:30 p.m. for our 6th night of our Muharram Majlis, starting with Niyaz, followed by our children's program at 7:30, our journey to Karbala workshop, ages 9 to 12. Boys will be indoors and the girls will be outdoors. 7:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. we'll have our Muharram workshop for children with special needs, ages 4 to 10. And from 8 p.m. to 8:45 we'll have our children's Muharram workshop, ages 3 to 8. Tonight's Niyaz has been sponsored by Bande Khuda for the Ithal Ithwab of all Marhumin. Al-Fatiha. We also have our Majlis sponsorship, which is still open, as well as our children's Niyaz and our Mokib sponsorship. We kindly request Mu'mineen to donate to these other three. Mu'mineen, as of this evening, we have raised a total of 70,000, and as you all know, our target for the month of Muharram and Safar is 250,000. We are requesting all Mu'mineen to donate generously. We have multiple funds, such as the Niyaz Fund, the Majlis Fund, the Alim Fund, and the General Muharram Fund. We are also requesting members and non-members of our center to donate $400 per family to the Muharram Fund. To date, we have had less than 25 families who have donated. Please do so as possible. You can donate by visiting our website at sijni.org/donate or by scanning the QR code that you can see on the screen. You can also visit the Treasurer's Desk in the back for more information. as well as purchasing the Islamic calendar for this year at the treasurer's desk for $10. Mu'mineen, as you know, we have the chairs that are assembled in the men's hall for the elderly and the physically challenged. We are requesting Mu'mineen to be cognizant of this, as we have limited chairs in the hall to accommodate everyone, and these will be the maximum amount of chairs that will be allocated. In the event you need a chair and it is not available in the men's hall, we request you to make your way to the cafeteria where chairs have been made available. We're also requesting parents with young children to consider sitting in the cafeteria where services have been made available to listen to the program, so as to not to disturb the proceedings in the men's hall. On the topic of parking, please note that parking is limited to our lot as well as the street. Please do not park across the street in the parking lot of our neighbors at Cozy Shack, as they are a 24/7 facility where parking is needed by their workers. You risk being towed, but also to put us in a bind with our neighbors, which we do not want. Parking has been made available at Patel Brothers in the rear side of their lot. We ask you to be mindful of our neighbors' driveways and hydrants, and if you see a cone outside next to a curb, it means you are not allowed to park there. Please do not remove those cones. And you would also have noticed that we have signs posted from the beginning of our driveway on the men's side when you enter the parking lot up to the exit on the ladies' side. You'll also notice a one-way sign on the fences and arrows in bright yellow on the tarmac, enabling traffic to flow in an orderly fashion. Please do not exit through the men's side, as we have had many occurrences that could have led to accidents. On Friday, we will have our Think, Grow, Act, Find Your Purpose in Society with Dr. Syed Shabbir Kirmani after the main program. All community members are invited. Youths are encouraged to attend. Finally, let us recite 5 times Amayuji for all those who are sick here and around the world, especially one of our former Madrasa principals, our very own Sister Layla Dinani, and those all over the world. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Amma yujibul mustarriza dhu wa yakshifu su. 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 Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Please recite aloud salawat for Dr. Syed Shabbir Kirmani as we all move forward. Salawat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فوض أمري إلى الله إن الله بصير بالعباد ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ونعم المولى ونعم النصير والصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على الرسول المسدد المصطفى الأمجد المحمود الأحمد الذي سمي في السماء بأحمد وفي الأرض بأبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين المنتجبين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. وقل رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أما بعد، قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتاب الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أم حسبت أن أصحاب الكهف والرقيم كانوا من آياتنا عجبا. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. My respected scholars, elders, brothers and sisters in Islam and Iman here in New York or across the globe, wherever you may be hearing my voice, Salamun alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Question: what is the view of companionship in Islam? We've embarked and now we're on our journey on the 5th lecture on our topic of the future of our community and the Karbala movement, humanity, struggle, and excellence. And in that last night, we talked about the examples of Hur and other personalities to learn from. And Hur, as you know, we've been talking about an undercurrent of our conversation, which is about freedom and true freedom. And there's a moment where Imam Hussein alayhi salam says to Hur that Hur anta hurrun fid dunya wal akhirah. He says that Hur, your mother named you appropriately, correctly, because you are free. Hur means free. That's why in some languages, such as Urdu and others, they say someone is, for example, their hurriyat is a term that is used, for example, freedom. And the concept is this notion of freedom that comes from this personality and this individual that we learn from. So Imam says to Hur, your mother named you appropriately. There's some things that I want to bring to our attention for our conversation tonight. That is, Islam in its essence was a religion which was trying to emancipate society from the different types of tyrannies that may exist. Tyranny may be political, it may be economic, it may be social, it may be of various forms. And what Islam was seeking was to try to get people to wake up and see that they are not subservient to anyone except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And once you become subservient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it emancipates you and frees you in a way that few, if any other things, can. Therefore, tonight I want to look at the concept of companionship. Is it possible or preferred to do the spiritual journey or pursue the spiritual journey in isolation? Or is it that I'm meant to do this with some form of companions, comrades, maybe even friends along this journey? What is the view of Islam on friendship, on companionship, on camaraderie? What is the view of what philosophers, historians, thinkers throughout times have said about the importance of good companionship, good camaraderie, and what can happen if one does not choose appropriately? The third element is, what are the different types of friends that one may have in this world and perhaps even in the akhirah, in the next world? And the final element that I want to talk about is how that one, by choosing and selecting and keeping and adhering to the correct type of friends, can actually excel and maybe even accelerate themselves on the spiritual path. And perhaps if they don't choose appropriately, they can actually become stagnant or even go in regression. And how is this exemplified by the teachings that we learn on the plains of Karbala more than ever, inshallah. This is our agenda for tonight. Wherever you are, here in New York or across the globe, send salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. At the first level, when it comes to companionship, camaraderie, friendship, this is something that is built into our society. The people understood from time that you can't truly have freedom in isolation. There is network effects associated with this. That is, if you look at the slogans of the French Revolution, you'll find that they were saying liberté, égalité, fraternité. And they were saying that there needs to be freedom, liberty, there needs to be equality or equality, and there needs to be fraternity or brotherhood. That's why often you'll know of the city of Philadelphia. If you break the etymology down of Philadelphia, it's made of two words, Philos and Delphia. The idea of brotherly love. Philos means love or friendship, and the other aspect being brotherly. So that's why it's often called the city of brotherly love. And so the concept was that you can't have freedom in isolation. That is, I cannot put my freedom over your freedom. That is, I cannot have that if I think that the rules apply to me, but I don't want the freedom for someone else, well then I'm going to be stepping on their toes. And I have a limited understanding of what freedom is. So that means that we need to look at this in another dimension. When it comes to Islam, Islam gives us some insights on this. There are 4 spiritual journeys that our scholars have identified. Number 1, the first journey is within myself, the one that I alluded to last night, the one that you need to look introspectively, inside, to work on yourself. That's where you develop yourself. But then Islam says that's not the only journey. You first try to perfect yourself and work on yourself as much as possible, and then you go to the next level, and you go to the next era, which is where you are then in the realm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So first there's an internal return, then there is a journey towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as the Quran says, Inni muhajirun ila Rabbi. That's attributed to Ibrahim, that I am a migrant towards my Lord. Ibrahim, Where is your Lord not that you are migrating towards Him? Allah is everywhere. And so the idea and the concept that comes forward here is that there's a spiritual migration that needs to ensue. But then it doesn't stop there. Then Allah wants us to go to the realm back of people. And then Allah wants us to go on this journey. The example is the following. The example is Rasulullah. Rasulullah would go to Ghar-e Hira, the cave of Hira, and he would introspect. He would get this spiritual environment. He was first going on this journey and trying to show us that you first need to go within. And then he would spend time in the cave. But it didn't stop there. Eventually Allah commanded him to go and tell this mission to the people. And so then you had to struggle in that domain. And you had to work on bringing people to understand. And so Rasulullah struggled for 23 years. And so you realize there were some people who were very supportive in the beginning, from the beginning, and there were some people who weren't. So there were comrades that Rasulullah had as well, such as Amir al-Mu'mineen and others who supported on the journey. Now, when it comes to what philosophers have said on this topic, and I'll come back to the Quran momentarily, they've said different things. If you go back to Aristotle, and I've told you in years past, that there's a theory. We don't know this definitively, but one of the things that you'll find when you read the Quran, as well as when you read some of the traditions of the Ahlul Bayt, as well as when you read some of the writings of some of our scholars, you'll be astonished by the tolerance that Islam presents. Which in fact, I'm hesitating to tell you that you may say, that you may put a kufr fatwa on me if I tell you some of these things. But the reality is Islam was tremendously tolerant relative to many other religions. And you'll find that, for example, some of our scholars hold the theory that Aristotle, Arastu, may have been a prophet. We don't know definitively, but there's 124,000 prophets and we don't know all of their names. If you know all of them, please let me know. But we only know a handful. And the reality is, some people, based on their teachings, their views, it's possible that they may have been prophets. This is what our scholars have hypothesized. Anyways, coming to this, he said that there's three types of friends that someone has. He said friends are vital, and there's three types of friends that someone may have in life. One are the friends based on utility. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. You give me something, I get some. You get something from them, for example. So that's the utility type. There's the other type of friend which is based on pleasure. You know, that person's fun as heck to hang out with. You know, like that's the person. You know, like they used to say. Nadan dost dana dushman se battar hai, right? This friend of yours who you may have, who's unaware and oblivious, but he's like, hey, let's go to the beach, let's go hang out. They may cause more damage to you than a sincere enemy. Because the sincere enemy cannot do what the friend does based on trust and all of these dynamics. So that's the second. The guys who are really fun to hang out with, you want to be with them on Friday night, Saturday night, Monday through Friday, you want to hang out with them. Those are the pleasure friends. The third element are those who are based on virtue. And this is a very important word which has fallen out of favor. If you know about linguistics, and I don't have the time to go into the details, but linguistics is the studies of languages. Dr. Chomsky's dissertation and PhD was in linguistics. But one of the theories is that if there is a word that doesn't exist in a civilization, or it has fallen out of favor, then you may be able to assume that that trait doesn't exist in that society. For example, if I say haya, haya means something to some people. But if I say it to some people, they'll be like, what are you talking about? And so these are important things to keep in mind. Similarly, virtue has seemingly fallen out of favor. But maybe ihsan, which Allah mentioned in the Quran, is a closer translation of it, would be in English, virtue. Anyways, bringing everything back to this conversation, so this was Aristotle's view. Then there came other thinkers over time, Cicero and others. Eventually there came people like Nietzsche, and Nietzsche said, a friend is someone who challenges you. A friend is someone who brings out the best in you. A friend is someone who pushes you to your limits and says, look, I'm not just going to say, oh, you're great, you're nice, you're this. A friend is going to be like, look, they're going to hold you by the collar metaphorically and say, look, you got to get things together, you got to push yourself, you got to lift yourself and go higher. That was another dimension. Then there's others who came in the 20th century, the existentialists such as Simone de Beauvoir and others who said that freedom and friendship are tied at the hip. That is, a friend, a true companion is going to be somebody who actually allows you to be free in the truest sense. That you can be yourself around them. You know, we often, as Shakespeare said, that all the world is a stage and all the people are merely actors. We're playing some role. Ghalib said the same thing in Urdu. He said, Bazicha atfal hai dunya mere aage, hota hai shab o roz tamasha mere aage. He says, this world's like a playground in front of me, and every day there's an act going on. And the reality of the matter is we play these different games. We wear these masks throughout life. But de Beauvoir was saying that a friend is someone who you can be your true self around. You don't have to wear a facade. You can be honest and authentic about who you are. Now comes the dimension of this is what philosophers have said. What's the Islamic view? And you'll find there are elements within Islam that a companion is a companion. A companion may not necessarily be good, or a companion may be great. It's not necessary that a companion is a friend, but a companion can become a friend. And on that journey, they can be good companions or bad companions. And it's important for us to keep these things in mind to understand what is our friendship. You know, I've asked some of my friends down in Florida, who are probably some of your friends as well, and others, you know, there's some people who get into different economic categories, right? Like financially, you know, 6, 8, 9-digit incomes and stuff like that. So people ask, you know, how do I become a millionaire? What's the fastest way? I say, you know what's the fastest way to become a millionaire? Get 3 millionaire friends. He'll be the 4th. Or another example is you'll see in society that people say you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. This is things that are heuristics, shortcuts that people use in society. But it's possible that somebody who helps you in one domain may also be a problem in another domain. So if someone is really good for your finances, they could maybe be a big problem for you spiritually. It's possible. Not necessary, but possible. Similarly, somebody who may be very good for your spiritual journey, it's possible that they're not the best for your bank balance. So it's important to understand and delineate what are the necessities that one needs. So now coming to the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us some valuable insights here. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Furqan, and you'll find in verses 27, 28, 29, Allah alludes to this. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gives us an ayah that on Yawm al-Qiyamah, some people will say, Ya waylata. Ya waylata. Ya waylata means woe unto me, like woe unto me. I messed up, I blew it. It's a statement of remorse if someone has this idea. Ya waylata. Laytani lam attakhidh fulanan khalila. I wish I did not take that person as a friend. And the ayah before it says that they'll bite their hands. You know, like physically they'll bite their hand like that because they're going to be in regret that I messed up big time. And so Allah says not everybody who's a friend is very good necessarily. But that's not where it stops. Allah also gives us the example of Yusuf alayhi salam, right? Yusuf, at some point in time, he has companions when he's in prison. And he says, these are my companions in Ashab as-Sijni, right? These are my companions in the prison. Now, they may not have been good, but eventually one of them told the king and said that, you know, there's some guy that you need to listen to and he can help interpret your dream of the cows. And so, they may have been good, they may have been bad, but they were companions. Third example is Ashabul Kahf themselves, which I've been reciting to you and mentioning to you in the last few nights. That these individuals were those who were companions. And there's a difference of views about what scholars say. Some scholars say that these were people who were youth of their society, and others say that the term is actually referring to influential members of society who were ministers, and they gave up that position together in order to pursue the truth and haqq. So these are also companions. Now why? There's a question here. Why did Allah not just tell me of one person who is, sahib al-kahf? Allah said ashabul kahf, that these are the companions of the cave. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says sometimes, if you relate this back to the story of Ibrahim, Allah called Ibrahim by himself, one individual, an ummah. But when it came to this example and Ashab al-Kahf in another circumstance, Allah gave them and moved heaven and earth for them to survive for 300 plus years, and eventually said these are Ashab al-Kahf, and they were enshrined in the Quran as well as beyond that. So there's a lesson here that on the journey of spirituality and on the journey to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, comrades and companions and friends can help you on that journey, and those people will be rewarded together. So the question you and I need to ask is, based on this, what is it that we have to do as people of faith? And also, what is it that we should be doing as brothers, as siblings, as sisters, of course, and this concept as people of faith in Islam? And that's what I'm coming to at this junction. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The first element is, as per traditions that we have very clearly in Islam, that the one who wakes up, Rasulullah said this on the record, that the one who wakes up in the morning and is not concerned and not worried about the affairs of the believers, فَلَيْسَ بِمُسْلِم. That person is not a believer. So now what this means is I need to be concerned not only in my own neck of the neighborhood, although that's important, not only in my family, my community, my society, but broadly throughout society at large. I need to be concerned about how society is doing. And so there's a burden and obligation here for that. It's both ways. I need to be concerned, and obviously others need to be concerned as well for my betterment. The other aspect is, do I actually pull other people to their height? Who are the friends and the companions that the prophets had? Who are the friends and the companions that the Ahlul Bayt had? Rasulullah himself had the companion of the likes of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And they were, when they went for the migration and eventually they moved from Mecca to Medina after the Hijrah, there was the pact of brotherhood that took place where Rasulullah made the brotherhoods between the Muhajirin and the Ansar. That is those people from Mecca who migrated and those people who are the locals from this vicinity of Medina. And eventually there was one person who wasn't given a brother. And at that point in time, Rasulullah, that was Amir al-Mu'minin, Imam Ali alayhi salam. And then of course Rasulullah says that Ali is my brother, akhi fi dunya wal akhirah. Ali is my brother in this world and in the next. This is one concept of camaraderie and brotherhood. But you go further than this and you look at this example, you'll find that when it comes to this brotherhood and sisterhood, of course, this is vital because I need to, as a believer, not only want what's good for me, by virtue of this and these traditions and these ayat, I need to want the best for you as well. And you need to want the best for me. That's part of deen, that's part of iman. That is, when I come to the community, if I want my son or my daughter to excel and to get into the Ivy Leagues, then I should want everyone else's kids to as well. If I want, for example, that people, if they do successful and they get into top universities and they are, for example, going to med school and engineering school and law school and all of this, I should want this for other people's as well. I should not feel and I should not go down a path that I think that everything is me-centric. This is where on the spiritual journey I need to introspect and I need to turn this away. And in fact, this is one of the biggest challenges of the vision of leadership. Is my vision limited to just me? Is my vision just limited to here? Is my vision broader than that? And I'm inviting and challenging myself and you to broaden our vision to not just be for our Jamaats, our Imam Bargars, our Husainiyas, but to think much bigger and much beyond that. In fact, to look at the broader non-Muslim community, to look at those people in society who we can add value to. Because that's really what the essence of the movement of the Ahlul Bayt and Islam was, to lift people. And you don't need to go further than the caravan of Imam Hussein to understand this. When you go to the caravan of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, you'll find people from all types of backgrounds. All types of religious backgrounds, all types of socioeconomic backgrounds, all different types of dynamics. Now that doesn't mean that we can't have our friendships sometimes in our own circles. You know, human beings, we have this tribal essence. But that does not mean that that should supersede and overtake what is the essence of what the religion and the Islam was about. So now, coming to this dynamic, you'll find that there were people who were companions and friends who lifted people higher, and there's others who may have brought them down. How is it that someone can help someone come higher? You'll find that who are the friends of the likes of Amir al-Mu'mineen? Amir al-Mu'mineen, one of his best friends was someone by the name of Malik al-Ashtar. And this is someone who they had a very close relationship. You'll remember that he wrote the letter and for the governorship of Egypt and a lot of these dynamics. And he appreciated so many aspects of his life, but I'm just highlighting a few of them. Now, you know, for us, we like people oftentimes in society who are the life of the party, so to speak, right? The people who are full of life, you know, the people who rock the boat and people are interesting to be around, right? And no problem with that. But what did Imam Ali say about Malik? He said, you know what he said? He said, I love Malik because he's quiet. I love Malik because he only speaks as much as is necessary. He doesn't speak beyond that. Oof. It's a different dimension. You're like, Syed, man, you're going to make my business go down the drain. I can't make any sales. No, there's another dimension of understanding this, where wisdom emerges from, where this is coming from. We're told there's a time, Luqman, and we'll get to Luqman, but Luqman was someone who was an Ethiopian slave, but it was a wise man of the highest caliber. And there's a chapter 31 of the Quran called Luqman. And Luqman eventually was brought bought by, he came into the court of the ruler of the time. And the ruler of the time says, Luqman, you're so wise. As they say, go and bring me the 2 best organs in the human body. Or for insan. Now, of course, he was using a cow for that, an animal to show what is it for insan, for the creation. And so he came back with the heart and the tongue. He said, what's the meaning of this, Luqman? Why is this the best organs? And what's interesting is he remained quiet. Sometimes, even quietness is wisdom. And you'll see in a moment why. So he said, okay, now Luqman, go and get me the 2 worst organs in the human body, or in the body of an animal. So he went and he got back and he came back with the heart and the tongue. He said, Luqman, what's the meaning of this? He said, the meaning is the following. The organs that are the best within an animal or creation are the heart and the tongue. And the worst are also the heart and the tongue. That is, if the heart and the tongue are pure and righteous, they're the best of organs. And if the heart and the tongue are corrupted, they are the worst of organs. You'll find that in this dynamic, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us, and in a riwayat, that many of the sins that we do come from the tongue. Slander, buhtan, ghiba, all of these things. You know, some of the ashab during the time of Rasulullah, they used to, I'm not trying to put the barazas out of business, by the way, but they used to take their stones and they used to fill their mouths. And the reason was that before they said something, they would want that this is worth taking out all these stones from my mouth to say something. Otherwise, don't say it. And so this is one dynamic. So Imam Ali says, I love this guy because he only speaks what's necessary. So he's not putting me and you and others at risk of ghibat and things of that nature. So that's one aspect. Another aspect is this camaraderie and this love that may help someone push each other. You know, there's areas where we are actually encouraged in Islam to compete. You know where we're encouraged to compete? We're encouraged to compete in worship, in ibadah. Not out of trying to show off, but if someone's doing really well, we push each other to do well. Much like sports. You know, sometimes you have a teammate in sports, and sports has this aura about it. I'll give you my own example. In high school, Ramadan, Shahr Ramadan, I used to play 4 hours sports non-stop. You couldn't ask me to read the Quran for 4 hours at that age, for non-stop. There's something about it. It gets people together. There's a camaraderie that emerges out of it. It's powerful. But the point that I'm driving at here is, sometimes you have someone who's pushing you towards excellence and you want to reciprocate that. And you want to push them further towards excellence. And you want to push them further to be better. But then there's other examples of people who want that. They, for example, they don't want that. And so you need to, on the spiritual journey, have that. In fact, you know, in giving, in terms of charity, philanthropy in Islam, there are 2 types of giving that has been mentioned very clearly. One is that which you give in seclusion, in isolation, in anonymity, which no one knows. But there's another type which is to give publicly. Now you may say, why does Allah want you to give publicly at times too? And the reason is that giving in public may inspire someone else to give. It may start other people to give in some capacity, in some way. And even in that, if you are doing, now niyyah is between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We may say, we may play Monday morning quarterback and say this person gave for this reason or that reason, but niyyah and intention is between that person and Allah. But if it inspires people to give in a way that it accelerates the level of goodness that's being done, more power to it. Islam has encouraged this. There are other areas where Islam has highly encouraged certain things which seem counterintuitive, things that our gut wouldn't allow. You know what? You know how important fraternity and brotherhood is in Islam? You know one of the places that you're allowed to lie in Islam? Luqman, the Imam, sixth Imam said, you know what made Luqman wise, what made him? One of the things was that he wouldn't go anywhere until and unless he reconciled between 2 feuding people. If he found 2 people who were fighting, he wouldn't move until he got them to patch up their, divergence or whatever problem they had with each other. One of the areas where you are and I are allowed to say something is when it comes to trying to patch up relations between people. Now you may say, why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow that? You know, Allah, you should have allowed me to say a white lie when I need to get out of my exam at NYU or Columbia. Why not in this situation? But at that situation, Allah said there's a value here because you don't understand the ripple effect that this has in society that can destroy the fabric of society when brotherhood, sisterhood, fraternity is destroyed. And so that's really one of the essences of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to understand when it comes to this dynamic of the equation. So companionship is extremely important. Choose your friends wisely. Choose your friends and those people. And this is where we come to Karbala. There's a lot more to say. I'm condensing it here. But the message and the manhaj of Karbala shows us that that companionship of people who are sincerely on the path, they are people who can lift others and change the world. And that's so important. You know, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, whether we mention Hur or the companions who will mention tonight, you'll find there is this ability within them to become timeless and immortal. They became immortal together. They became timeless together. They became people of forever together. And so you learn this from whether it's the Imam forgiving Hur and the generosity of the Imam, or when it comes to Habib or Syed or any of these companions who teach us how friendship can lift people much beyond what they thought was possible within themselves. The poet says, with respect to Hur and the relationship of Imam Hussein and what the zalim on the other side was doing. Remember, the Quran says, Amr bil ma'ruf, nahi al munkar. True friends, they support each other in Amr bil ma'ruf and nahi al munkar. Promoting good, forbidding evil. They work together towards that cause. The poet says, Dono jahan ki मांगता निअमत हुसैन से, दोनों जहां की मांगता निअमत हुसैन से, कम ज़र्फ मांगता रहा बैत हुसैन से. He says he would have asked, if he had asked Imam Hussein for anything else, Imam Hussein would have given it to him. He's the son of Fatima the Zahra, he's the son of Amir al-Mu'minin, grandson of Rasulullah. He wanted heaven, he would give it. I gave you the example of his conversation with Umar ibn Sa'ad. He says, you want money, power, what do you want? I'll give it to you. So if he asked him, he would give him. But the one thing that Yazid asked was for bay'ah. And that's one thing that the Imam could not give him, because that was not given to him by himself, it was given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That was divine. And so had he asked anything else, the Imam would have given it to him, but he ended up asking him that. दोनों जहां की मांगता निअमत हुसैन से, कम ज़र्फ मांगता रहा बैअत हुसैन से, और आया था सबसे देर में लेकिन कमाल है. आया था सबसे देर में लेकिन कमाल है, हुर सबसे पहले ले गया जन्नत हुसैन से. आया था सबसे देर में. The poet saying he came at the last moment, at the last time, but it's the first one to take Jannah from Hussein was Hur bin Yazid al-Riyahi. This is the generosity of the Imam, the concept of uplifting. How does one show us the immortal nature? There's a moment that you may remember where Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he dimmed the lights and he changed the whole dynamics of the equation. The poet says something powerful here. He says that बुझाया एक दिया शहने 72 हो गए रोशन. बुझाया एक दिया शहने 72 हो गए रोशन. अंधेरा खुद परेशान है, बुझा क्या था जला क्या है. He says that he extinguished, Imam Hussein extinguished one diya, one candle in the middle of the night. But when he extinguished that candle, the darkness itself is worried about what was extinguished and what was lit. 72 companions were lit forever. That fire that is there is something that has no price. Those people that Imam Hussein said, you want money? I'll let you go. He says, I'm dimming this light. Anyone wants to go. I'm lifting a bay'ah from you. Everything. You have no obligation. In fact, you know what? If you're embarrassed to go in front of people, you can take one of the women of Banu Hashim and say that you just went as a guardian to try to protect them and be safeguarding them on their journey. So no one has any excuse. So no one can say that you ran away from the battlefield. He said, you want zamana of Jannah? I'll give you zamana of Jannah. What you name it, I'll give it to you. But they said nobody budged. Nobody moved a muscle. In fact, they said, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, 1,000 times over for you. If we could die and then come back, die and come back. This is camaraderie. This is companionship. This is brotherhood. That's why Imam Hussein said, neither my father or my brother were ever given companions like me. Imam Hussein had companions which were the purest of the pure. The poet says, Jal rahe hain jo diye, unko bujhaya jaye, aaj bas shamme mawaddat ko jalaya jaye, और शाम वालों ने ये दस्तूर बना रखा है, शाम वालों ने ये दस्तूर बना रखा है, हार कर नेज़ों पे कुरान उठाया जाए, हार कर नेज़ों पे कुरान उठाया जाए। दुरूद भेजे मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद बारा। The dynamics of understanding some of the things that are there with respect to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, they transcend. And there's some lines which I would have to explain and it would become a bit challenging, but one thing that you have to realize is Imam Hussein alayhi salam changes the intuitive into the unintuitive. People don't often run towards death. There's a companion of Imam Hussein who said a very famous line on the day of Ashura. And he was an individual who started running towards the battlefield, and he went without armor, without anything. And he started fighting with his bare hands. And at that point in time, the people thought he had lost his mind. He had lost it. And they said, we can't fight you. And he attacked them until they did, with his bare hands. And he said, حُبِّ الْحُسَيْنِ أَجَنَّنِي. He said, the love of Hussein has driven me mad. You see, the love of Hussein is rooted in the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because that's all Hussein wanted. If you read Dua Arafah, what is the line that he says? He said, Ya Allah, what has he gained who has lost you? And what has he lost who has gained you? The vision and the movement of Karbala is a movement of divine love. And these people were on that path because Rasulullah had said that the one who loves me loves Hussein. And it was clear for all Muslims throughout times that love of Rasulullah is a subset of the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You cannot truly love Allah without loving Rasulullah. Why? Because the messenger is Rasulullah. Everything that we have in Islam is through him. We have not seen jaza, qada, hisab, kitab, sirat. We have not seen Jibreel. Everything that we have is through the mouth of Rasulullah. And we believe him to be true. And that's why when it comes to camaraderie, there's certain levels of friendship that transcend. And that level is the transcendence of some prophets who are called Khalilullah, such as Ibrahim, and some people become the friend of Allah, such as Habibullah, Rasulullah himself. Allah has his own friends as well. And you'll find that when it comes to the caravan of Imam Hussein, these individuals were considered to be the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's something that we should never forget with respect to the dynamics of what it means to be a true follower of the Ahlul Bayt. A true follower of the Ahlul Bayt is someone who is engrossed in the Quran. Dalil, if you listen to all of the companions, they were reciting the Quran day in and day out in the days leading up to Ashura. A person who is entrenched in the movement is someone who is entrenched with Rasulullah. Do you know how many people moved to the camp and came to the camp of Imam Hussein because they just said, this is the grandson of Rasulullah. There's no two ways about how you can split this. You need to be very understanding and caring about this. So this final poem, and then I'll be transitioning to Masaib straight away. That's why the poet says, Na kuch Hussain barabar nama varaye Hussain. न कुछ हुसैन बराबर नमा वराए हुसैन बड़े बड़ों के सरों पर है खाके पाए हुसैन. He says that nothing is like Hussein and nothing is close to like Hussein. Big people have the dust of Hussein on their heads. If you recall, there was a moment during his youth when Imam Hussein was young, and the Ahlul Bayt had seen this, where Imam Hussein was walking and behind him was a man who was taking the dust underneath the feet of Hussein and putting it on his head. That was Habib ibn Madahir. This is something for us to reflect on. True friendship, true companionship. It can save your dunya and the akhirah. This was the friendship that these two individuals had. Imam Hussein, ajrukum ala Allah, on Yawm al-Ashura, the narrations say that the army was getting bigger leading up to the day of Ashura on the plains of Karbala. On the side of Yazid, the army was growing every single day. And as the army was growing, there's a dialogue that ensues that says, Bibi Zainab spoke to her brother Imam Hussein and said, my brother Aba Abdullah, I'm noticing and I'm seeing that every day a new battalion is coming on the side of the enemies, and every day there are more people who are coming. Their army is getting larger. Is there anyone to come to our aid? Is there anyone to come to our assistance? Is there anyone to come to our help? Imam Abu Abdullah al-Hussein says, my sister, don't worry, I've written a letter. Don't worry, help is on its way. The narrations say that the Imam had written at that point from Karbala, he had dispatched a messenger towards Kufa. As you know, Kufa was in a state where it was heavily guarded and heavily armed, so that the supporters of Imam Hussein could not support Imam Hussein. The narrations say that the Imam had written a letter to his friend Habib ibn Madahir. The narrations say that Habib had just sat down to eat with his wife when there was a knock on the door. When the knock came on the door, Habib called out and asked, who is it? He said, Ana Qasid al-Hussein. He said that I am the messenger of Hussein. At that point, they say it is as if the morsel of food was caught in the throat of Habib. He got up and he went towards the door. He took the letter, he kissed the letter, he put it to his eyes, he began to read it, and it said, Ila rajulin faqih Habib ibn Madahir. It said toward the scholar, the knower, Habib ibn Madahir. He says, what does it say further? He reads, it says, Habib, I have been encircled, I have been engulfed, I have been surrounded by the enemy. If it's possible, come to my aid, come to my assistance. It was signed by Hussein ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib. Imam al-Hussein wrote this towards Habib. Habib began to weep, but then he composed himself because he knew that his wife was there. At that point he comes back to the table, and when he comes back to the table, at that point he says, the wife asks, what was it? Whose letter was this? What does the letter say? Tell me. At that point in time, he said, as the messenger said, this was the letter from Hussein ibn Ali. What does it say? It says that the Imam is circled. He has been encircled and he has been besieged, and he's saying that he needs help and assistance. At that point in time, the wife says, then what will you do? Now at that stage, look, there's a situation of trepidation and fear throughout Kufa, and he doesn't know. How does he tell his wife that he's committed to take his life and go and give his life to Hussein and ultimately Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? But it's a wife's heart. How does he tell her? He needs to see, where does she feel about this? He says, I'm thinking about it. I'm contemplating about it, about what I shall do. The narrations say that the wife got up. She said, then give me your armor, give me your sword, that I will go and defend Hussein ibn Ali on your behalf. He said, the narrations say, Habib began to cry. He began to weep. He said, what era of Mazlumia, what era of difficulty on my master, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, that even the women are willing to sacrifice their life. He says, no, I am committed to go to my master. I just wanted to know what your sentiments were, how you would deal with this. He made the arrangements. He told his servant, go and stand by the gate of Kufa with my horse, and I will come when there is a time that's appropriate towards the dusk, and I will come and I will get on the horse and I will dispatch towards Karbala. The narrations say that he made the arrangements. There was a heavy curfew in Kufa. When he got there, eventually at that point when he saw a moment where he was able to leave the house and go towards the gate of Kufa to depart towards Karbala, he came. It had been some delay for him to get to the horse and to the servant. And what did he see at that moment? Habib heard and overheard a conversation between the servant, and he was saying to the horse, O horse of my master, it seems that my master has become delayed. If he does not come, then I will go on to you and I will go and defend Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Habib thought to himself, what era has come, what time has come that the servants are willing to sacrifice their life for the grandson of Rasulullah. Ajrukum ala Allah. Habib departed from Kufa. When he departed from Kufa, he went speeding and bolting towards Karbala. In the distance from Karbala, the narrations say that they saw dust coming from the distance as if a horse rider was coming. At that point in time, the people were wanting to see, is it a friend or a foe who is coming? The companions of Imam Hussein, they came nearby. They say, what is the meaning of this? Imam sees it. He says, my friend is coming. Go and greet him. Go and gather the men to greet my friend. Ajrukum ala Allah. The narrations say Habib ibn Madahir, he gets closer. When he gets closer and they greet him, the companions of Imam Hussein, they hug him and they remember a good comrade, an old friend. And at that moment, the narrations say there was a moment of seemingly jubilance in the camp of Imam Hussein. People were saying takbir, they were saying Allahu Akbar. Sayyida Zainab heard this and she said, Fidda, what is the meaning of this sound? It seems like there's a moment of jubilance, that the people are encouraged. They are saying the takbir, they are saying Allahu Akbar. I have not heard this. Can you go find out what's going on? Fidda gets dispatched and then she goes and she sees that Habib ibn Madahir has come. She comes back. She says, Oh Sayyida Zainab, the old friend of Imam Hussein, Habib has come and he has come to the plains of Karbala. Bibi Zainab says, Fidda, give my salutations and give my salams to Habib. She goes back. She says, Oh Habib, salutations upon you, and I deliver to you the salams of the daughter of Ali ibn Abi Talib, Zainab al-Kubra. She conveys her salams onto you. The narrations say that Habib took his turban, his amama, and he threw it towards the ground. They said, Habib, what's the meaning of this? He says, me, a servant of the household of Ali Muhammad, and the likes of Zainab, sending the salutations and the salams. Ajrukum ala Allah. Azadaro do jumle sun lijiye. Yahi Habib hai. Marhala ye aaya कि बीबी ज़ैनब ने सलाम भेजा, हबीब ने अमामा फेंका, मातम किया, कहा शहजादिया सलाम भेज रही हैं, ये मराहिल भी आ गए, ये मरहला इम्तिहान भी आया. हबीब ने कहा, मौला मुझे इजाज़त दीजिए, मौला मुझे जंग की इजाज़त दीजिए. मौला ने कहा, हबीब तुम हमारे पुराने दोस्त हो, हमारे बचपन के दोस्त हो, तुम्हें इजाज़त कैसे दे दें. आखिर हबीब ने इसरार किया, और जब इसरार किया इमाम ने इजाज़त दी और हबीब चले. जब हबीब चले, लड़े और खूब लड़े, और जब लड़े तो आखिर अश्किया ने घेर लिया हबीब को, हबीब पे वार किया, हबीब गिर पड़े, और जब ज़मीन पे गिर पड़े सदा दी, हुसैन दौड़े, उन्होंने हबीब को देखा, लहू लहान हो चुके थे हबीब. इमाम ने हबीब का सर अक़दस अपने ज़ानू में लिया. कहा, हबीब उन्होंने ये क्या हालत की. कहते हैं कि जो इमाम के असहाब थे वो आखिरी लम्हात में उनके आंखों में आंसू आ रहा था. क्यों? क्योंकि एक जुमला कहते थे. वो जुमला क्या था? जुमला ये था कि जब इमाम पूछते थे ये गिरिया कैसा, वो कहते थे कि ऐ सैयद शुहदा यब्ना रसूलिल्लाह यब्ना बतूल, अभी हम आखिरी दम में हैं, आखिरी जिंदगी की आखिरी सांसों में हैं, और हमारा सर आपके जानू में है, मगर चंद लम्हों में आप भी शहीद हो जाएंगे. आपका सर किसके जानू पर होगा? अरे कोई बताए असहाबे हुसैन को. हुसैन अली होगा और कातिल शिमर बिन ज़ुलजोशन का खंजर होगा, जानू उसका होगा, वो गला होगा जो रसूल खुदा चूमते थे. अला लानतुल्लाह وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله، صلى الله عليك يا أمير المؤمنين، صلى الله عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين، صلى الله عليك يا حسن المجتبى. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. معتم حسين، يا حسين يا حسين.
یا حسین 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 سب مل کے حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین شبیر اگر تیری عزاداری نہ ہوتی شبیر اگر تیری سب مل کے عزاداروں شبیر اگر تیری عزاداری نہ ہوتی شبیر عزاداری نہ ہوتی شبیر اگر سب مل کے عزاداروں شبیر اگر تیری شبیر کا مقصد جو سمجھ لیتا زمانہ قرآن کو سمجھنے میں قرآن کو سمجھنے میں یہ دشواری نہ ہوتی شبیر اگر جزاک اللہ ماتمی شبیر نہ ہوتی شبیر اگر کیا فائدہ آنکھوں کا رہ جاتا ذرا سوچو ان آنکھوں میں مولا کی ان آنکھوں میں مولا کی یہ غم خواری نہ ہوتی شبیر اگر جزاک اللہ ماتمی شبیر اگر نہ ہوتی شبیر اگر تیری شبیر کے روزے پہ کچھ روز جو کہتے تھے تم کو کبھی جنت کی تم کو کبھی جنت کی طلبداری نہ ہوتی شبیر شبیر اگر نہ ہوتی شبیر دو روز بھی جنت میں رہنا ہمیں مشکل ہے زہرا تیرے بچوں کی زہرا تیرے کی جو سرداری نہ ہوتی شبیر جیو ماتمی نہ ہوتی شبیر غازی تیرے جیسا جو علمدار نہ ہوتا دنیا میں علم ہوتے دنیا میں ہوتے علمداری نہ ہوتی شبیر جو عزاداری نہ ہوتی شبیر اگر جزاک اللہ ہوتی شبیر
داری نہ ہوتی شبیر، داری نہ ہوتی شبیر، شرمندہ سکینہ جو اگر ہوتا نہ پانی، یہ رسم سبھی لوگ کے، یہ رسم سبھی لوگ کی کبھی جاری نہ ہوتی شبیر، اگر عزاداری نہ ہوتی شبیر، ہاری نہ ہوتی شبیر، جانے والے کربلا کے کربلا لے چل مجھے، جانے والے جزاک اللہ ماتمی لے چل مجھے، جانے والے کربلا کے، سب مل کے آزادارو، جے جانے والے جانے والے کربلا کے کربلا لے چل مجھے، روزہ شبیر پر دوں گا دعا لے چل مجھے، جانے والے کربلا کے، سب مل کے آزادارو، جانے والے کربلا کے، جانے والے کربلا کے کربلا لے چل مجھے، روزہ شبیر پر دوں گا دعا لے چل مجھے، جانے والے کربلا کے، جزاک اللہ ماتمی، تھے جانے والے کربلا کے، چل مجھے جانے والے کربلا کے، ہے جہاں گنجے شہیدہ، ہے جہاں نہر فرات، ہے جہاں گنجے شہیدہ، ہے جہاں نہر فرات، جس جگہ سید میرا پیاسا رہا لے چل مجھے، جانے والے کربلا کے، جو ماتمی لے چل مجھے، جانے والے کربلا لے چل مجھے، جانے والے، سب مل کے چل مجھے، جانے والے کربلا کے، جس جگہ جاگی تھی قسمت حر کی وہ دیکھوں گا میں، جس جگہ جاگی تھی قسمت حر کی وہ دیکھوں گا میں، آنسوؤں پر کیسے ہوتی ہے عطا لے چل مجھے، جانے والے کربلا کے، کالے چل مجھے، جانے والے کربلا کے، لے چل مجھے، جانے والے ہائے وہ مقتل جہاں بالی سکینہ رات میں، ہائے وہ مقتل جہاں بالی سکینہ رات میں، ڈھونڈتی پھرتی تھی سینہ باپ کا لے چل مجھے، جانے والے کربلا کے، کربلا لے چل مجھے جانے والے کربلا لے چل مجھے جانے والے جانے والے کربلا کے دل الجھ کر آ گیا برچھی میں اکبر کا گلا دل الجھ کر آ گیا برچھی میں اکبر کا گلا اس جگہ میں بھی کروں ماتم ذرا لے چل مجھے جانے والے کربلا کے کربلا لے چل مجھے جانے والے چل مجھے جانے سب مل کے آزادارو کہ کربلا لے چل مجھے جانے ہے جہاں گنجے شہیدہ ہے جہاں نہر فرات ہے جہاں گنجے شہیدہ ہے جہاں نہر فرات جس جگہ سید میرا پیاسا رہا لے چل مجھے جانے والے کربلا کے جیو ماتمی چل مجھے جانے والے کربلا کے واویلا حسینم واویلا حسین واویلا حسینم حسین واویلا حسینم واویلا چھین لی نے ظالموں نے سب کے سروں سے ردا واویلا حسینم واویل حسین واویلا حسینم واویل حسین جس طرح سے کاٹا گیا سبت نبی کا گلا واویلا حسینم حسین واویلا حسینم واویل حسین جس طرح سے پانی کٹے پیاسے رہے کارواں واویلا حسینم حسین واویلا حسینم واویل حسین جس طرح سے شام غریبہ ہوا کربلا واویلا حسینم حسین واویلا حسینم واویلا حسین چھین لی نے ظالموں نے سب کے سروں سے ردا واویلا حسینم حسین واویلا حسینم واویلا جس طرح سے کاٹا گیا سبت نبی کا گلا واویلا حسینم حسین واویلا حسینم حسین جس طرح سے پانی کٹے پیاسے رہے کارواں واویلا حسینم حسین واویلا حسینم حسین واویلا حسینم یا حسین واویلا حسینم حسین واویلا حسینم رحم اللہ من قرأ سورۃ المبارکۃ الفاتحہ.
توجہ زیارت. السلام علیکہ یا رسول اللہ، السلام علیکہ یا حبیب اللہ، السلام علیکہ یا ممتحنۃ امتحنک اللہ، السلام علیکہ یا فاطمۃ الزہرا سیدۃ النساء العالمین، السلام علیکہ یا امیر المومنین، السلام علیکہ یا امین اللہ فی ارضہ وحجۃ اللہ علی عبادہ، السلام علیکہ یا حسن المجتبی، السلام علیکہ یا ابا عبداللہ الحسین، السلام على من جعل له الشفاء في تربته السلام على من الإجابة تحت قبته السلام على ابن زمزم وصفا السلام عليك يا زين العابدين سيد السجاد السلام عليك يا باكر العلم نبيين وجعفر بن صادق وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد التقي الجواد وهادي النقي والحسن العسكري السلام عليك يا مولاي يا صاحب الزمان سلام على آل ياسين السلام عليك يا حجة الله في أرضي السلام عليك يا سفينة النجاة صلوات الله عليك وعلى أهل بيتك الطاهرين اللهم كن لوليك صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم صل على محمد وعلى